Will, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Will. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Hello. We are back, Flagler Weekly, episode 33. And we have Will Tant in here. Thank you so much for coming on such short notice. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We know that you have a lot of stuff going on today. And man, it is the Tommy Tant 22nd annual surf competition
Yeah.
in Flagler County,
Flagler Beach. Yes.
Flagler Beach, which is in Flagler
Yeah.
County. And this is the largest competition in. Is it on the East Coast, Dave? You
I
said?
believe so. Yeah.
There's other
Local
contests that are
ones.
probably there's definitely contests that are bigger, but as far as like a local event that's been around for 20 years, that's family run, they're pretty rare to come by on the East Coast. And I think just in surfing in general, just because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're really excited to be the 22nd year. It's really hard to believe.
Yeah. And you've been running it for what, 18 years now?
Yeah, so I took over. So as far as the event history, like it started off with the community coming to my family and I. We didn't run it for the first 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it wasn't even our idea.
Didn't it like the theater or a marketing group at the high school or something?
Yeah, so my mom was she's always taught, she's taught marketing, fashion marketing for, her whole entire teaching career. She's retired now. And then there was a teacher here in Flagler County she's still around, Fran Noble.
Oh, Ms. Noble. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she ran the fashion marketing department at FPC, and my brother took fashion marketing. And so that's why the marketing group came up with the idea to have the Tommy Tant, because Tommy was a former student of Fran and a local surfer. And so they're the ones that came up with the idea.
That's awesome. I saw where you said that he would always like call up a friend to go surfing and stuff like that. And that's awesome. Like surfing, it really is a staple of Flagler County. You know, for the longest, it's like, there's like Bunnell, which is like the farm, and then they have like the other areas and stuff like that. Then there's like the suburbs of Flagler County, but then like Flagler Beach and the surf community has always been a strong community in this area.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, it's true. It's like even the farming community, they're each of them are distinct, and they all have their different cultures. And I think when it comes to the surf community, we have a lot of the world's best surfers in the world come from Flagler Beach.
Yeah.
And
Shout out
so
my friend Devin Ricky.
yeah, and so it's like we have 4-time world champion Frida Zampa. So she was 4-time world champion.
Wow.
And she's from here. And then you have
Everybody knows about the pool, but a lot of people don't know that.
I never
she had
knew
a
that.
massive. She had such an impact on my life and a lot of the young kids' lives in that generation, where we got to watch her surf. And so here we had like a world champion surfer sitting next to each other, like we're sitting next to each other in the lineup. And so it was kind of like, it begged the question, well, how far can you go? Well, look to your left and see Frida. She's the best in the world.
Wow.
So it plants a seed of ambition. And I think that seed of ambition has been in the Flagler County surf culture for a really long time. It probably preceded Frida, but then you see it in Frida. And then afterwards, there's a long line of really top talent in surfing, which you can see now in the generation now. You have guys like Robbie McCormick, who's really good, Ryan Huckabee, Carl Berger. There's a long list of real, and then there's a generation below that too. And so it's really impressive to see. And there's probably a laundry list of other groms out there that are shredding that I'm not familiar with, but that are here on a daily presence. And it's awesome.
Also in the research, you were a professional surfer?
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do you kind of go about doing that? Like surfing, they don't do it in high school. They don't do it in college. You know, how do you kind of like get noticed?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it kind of works in the sense of there's local amateur contests. There is, when I was doing it, it was the Eastern Surfing Association, the National Scholastic Surfing Association, and now there's another association. And so what you do as an amateur is you enter those contests. And what that does is it gives you basically a base mark. Okay, how good am I in my local area? And then you have these regional areas like the East Coast championships. And so how am I on the East Coast level? And then there's national ones. And so where do I rank in America? And then what you do is you begin to compete, you learn to compete, you start to do better. and then you start winning, and then from there, the sponsors, the companies will basically take notice of you. And in most people turn professional after high school, but some are turning pro before then, and then once you get your sponsorship, then there's a world league where you compete on. And so the local contests, even the Tommy Tant, it provides our local community as an opportunity to sharpen your skills and to come together. And so it's a stepping stone system.
Awesome. So with the Tommy Tant surf competition, how many surfers are going to participate?
We have this year, I think we have 240 entries. And so and so we basically, you'll see when you come to the Tommy Tant, we have 2 heats going at one time. And so basically we run 2 contests at the same time because there's just so many entries. And so we have...
we have so much beachfront. You can't
so much beachfront. You can do it. And so, but it is challenging. But yeah, so it's a 2-day event. It starts tomorrow, Saturday, but it kicks off tonight.
With the events and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. So can you name off a couple of different categories? Because I know you said a new one is the Tommy category.
Yeah.
So I was just seeing a couple of the other ones that people have.
So we have, I think, 13 divisions.
Okay.
How many? 18. We have 18 divisions. 18 divisions. And so we have, from the pro side, we have the men's pro, the women's pro, the longboard pro, and the junior pro. Those are 4 categories. And so that's 4. Then you have 14 amateur divisions. And they run from surfers who are just starting to surf, where a parent will go out with their child and push them into the waves, all the way up to my dad's age, which is in their 70s.
Oh, Dave, now you can do it.
Yeah, so you can do it. Yeah, so it's like we have a division for everyone, every skill level, every age, and I think what's really unique about surfing is that, say we go to the basketball courts, we play basketball. You don't see people who can't play basketball that well and guys in their 70s playing basketball together and everyone in between. And what's unique about surfing is you have a court, so to speak, where everyone is shoulder to shoulder. All different divisions, ages, doesn't matter your background. It's like you're out there. And that's what's really unique about, one of the things that is really unique about surfing is that you have it spans generations in a way that you see fathers, sons, daughters, mothers, granddaughters, grandmothers, grandfathers out there all surfing together at once.
That's awesome.
That's crazy, yeah.
That's awesome. So when in competition, this is coming from somebody who I have gotten on a board before.
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself a surfer, but I am a coast boy. But what is there a certain type of surfboard, like competition type, or like are you allowed to wear the ankle thing with the like connector? I feel like that's like rookie stuff.
Well, I mean, it can be like you can ride. Yeah, so every division you probably have an ideal board for that division. So the more high performance divisions, you're going to have. It's almost like a race car. It's like a Porsche. It's going to be shorter and it's going to be able to turn really fast and really easy. The longboard division, you're going to have like the Cadillacs. They're bigger and you don't turn those on a dime. It's kind of like a barge. You kind of set the line and then you go.
That's awesome.
And so each board kind of fits with that particular division, whatever you enter. And yeah, you can wear a leash. Once it gets kind of smaller, guys don't wear leashes, but I mean, this weekend, the forecast right now, I just looked, is 5 to 7 feet tomorrow.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then 4 to 6 on Sunday. And so guys will 100% be wearing leashes.
Because they don't want to lose them or something like that.
Otherwise, they're just going to be swimming. Because the whole point, when it comes to judging criteria for surfing, there's a few different levels. There's a few different criterias. And one of them is you're pushing the boundaries. How far are you pushing the boundaries? How much are you pushing the limits of surfing in this heat with those maneuvers that you're doing? And so for some people, what that's going to require, a lot of us, is we're going to have to wear leashes because we're pushing it out there. We're not going to play it safe.
That's true.
One of the criteria is that you actually risk.
Yeah,
you
go
take
for
the
it.
risk. You got to take the risk in order to win the contest.
That was like my next question is like, if that's one of the categories, like what other categories are there?
There's risk, and then there's power. So like how much power are you putting behind the turns? And so like someone who's like 12 years old, they may be taking the risk, right? But then you have a guy who is, a full grown man who's able to put his power behind him. What that does, it just looks different. It looks like to the eye, you can see that, man, someone put a lot of power behind that turn.
Just like a
and so you get to see it. It's almost like a Mike Tyson swing versus like a featherweight swing.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like a
so
Mike
like a
Tyson
heavyweight
swing.
versus, so it's like style, and then there's like power.
The power of it, and it's just impressive. And so that's a criteria. And then style. Like, how much style do you have? Are you, there is a dance to surfing in a sense. And it's almost like watching like figure skating or something where they're flowing all the moves together in a way.
Yeah.
It's like seamless.
Yeah.
And all of that, so you got style, you have power, and you have risk. All of that takes a tremendous amount of time to get good at.
That's true. That's very true.
With that being said, who are the judges?
So the judges, so what we do is we hire the judges.
Okay.
We bring them in. And I think there's a couple local guys and then a basically non-local. And so we hire them and they all have the special like certificate training. Some are certified at the highest level. And so they'll sit up there and there's panels of four judges and then someone who oversees each, the panel itself. And so they range up and down the East Coast, and a lot of them are former pro surfers. And basically for some of them, this is their full-time job. So, and the reason why we do that is because one of our values for our event is excellence. And so we want to be able to create an environment where you give us your hard-earned money to enter the event, and we want to really be able to provide a professional judging experience, because it goes back to creating this atmosphere for surfers to take the sport seriously, take what they're doing seriously, and know that they're going to be judged at the highest level, but by some of the best judges in the world.
Has there been like let's say a surfer that might have, what I would consider, came from the Tommy Tant competition that you like seen on TV and stuff? Like,
and I think I mean, you look at,
so there's gonna be some like celebrities out there.
Well, that's the thing. That's what people don't realize in Flagler County. Maybe they do realize it. Hopefully, they do realize it.
Well, so I don't think so. Like, because there's a lot of new people. There's so many new people.
The icons in surfing, the next generation, the future of surfing. You can walk to the pier and see them surfing. It's here. It's in Flagler. We have some of the best aerialists in the world are from Flagler Beach. You can pull up at the beach and you can, and if the waves are good, you're going to see them out there. And and what you're watching is some of the highest talent in the world.
So I believe that we were like, with the last storm that came through, like it wasn't really a hurricane, but whatever, and there was a couple kids out there, and just going out there alone would be crazy for a normal person, and they're out there swimming and surfing and jumping and just killing it, and like paddling back out when they're done, like experts of the beach. I'm
not saying I like want to promote this, but when I was growing up out here, I feel like one of the rites of passage to be a surfer, called one in Flagler Beach, is you have to surf during a hurricane. You gotta go out there and go catch that.
Well, it's fun, and it's like it's this element of, okay, we're both interested in the ocean, and there's a challenge ahead of us, and the waves are big, and the storm's big. Everyone's excited,
and the weather's amazing.
And so it's a sense of adventure, and it's true. It's like, I can remember like pivotal moments in my life, in my childhood, and then pivotal moments in my young adulthood where I was out surfing, a wave came, my friends were encouraging me to go in that wave. I went, I made it, I did something I didn't think I could do. And it instilled a sense of like, man, I can do this.
Wow.
And it's awesome. And so you have those moments when it's big and when the waves are, it's kind of dramatic, and you're a little bit scared, but your friends are going, go, 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 and you go and you make it, and you're like, it opens up your own possibility.
That's awesome.
That's deep.
How has the support grown over the years?
Yeah, it's so it's like I mentioned earlier that the community started the event, and so I think that act of starting a memorial surf contest in memory of a fellow friend and family who grew up here, right? They came to us, so they've been supporting the contest from day one,
right?
And so today, if you drive by A1A at the contest site, take a look at the banners.
Yeah.
And what you're going to see is local restaurants, local businesses stepping up to the plate. So we've had over 20 years of support from local businesses and the community, which is phenomenal.
It's awesome.
And it speaks to like the community created the event. So what is it about Flagler County? What is it about this beach community that they want to continue to invest in this event that speaks to not just my brother, but the families here, that the bigger community here? What does it say about us and our values that we want to continue to support this event?
And the volunteers.
Yeah, and the volunteers.
Yeah.
And the volunteers are phenomenal. So
it's definitely like I feel like there's like 4th of July and then like Tommy Tant, you know what I mean? It's big. It's like definitely a thing.
Yeah.
Just to like come out, even if people maybe don't know about surfing too much.
Yeah.
People like watching surfing and the surfing event and stuff. I've told some people about it. We were out testing the mics and stuff out there.
Yeah.
So people, they're like, what do you know? I was like, oh, they're like, what's going on? I was like, oh, there's surf competition. They were from China. Yeah. And they're like, oh, we're going to come check it out. We're here for the weekend.
And that's what's so cool about it, right? It's like, it is this, anytime I think you see people gathering together, and the ocean in itself is something that draws people.
Yeah.
And so you have this sort of this, and this weekend the ocean is going to be really impressive. And then you have this community coming around, and it's like, what is going on here? What's happening? What is this all about?
I feel like just living here, we're like kind of jaded to like how cool the beach is.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you live in like Oklahoma, like wow, the ocean.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's true. It's like it's very much human nature to take things for granted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's crazy because it's big, kind of like the Grand Canyon. Like it's large. You know what I mean? Like I went to school in St. Louis, and when I came back, it's like it's loud.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, like you're like at the edge of like, and you don't really realize it until you do come back here. It's just it's it feels great.
Yeah.
So if you can, being his brother, tell us a little bit about Tommy. Like a little bit like personal about him, if you don't mind. Like maybe some other hobbies he might have done and stuff like that. Maybe a funny story you might know, or he's your older brother. Did he get you into surfing, or?
Yeah, we got into surfing at the same time. And so we moved to Flagler County, I think when I was 8 or 9.
From where?
From North Carolina.
Okay.
So we grew up in like first 8 years were in the mountains of North Carolina.
Wow.
And then we moved to Flagler when I think I was 9. And so my brother was probably 11 and a half. And so we were almost 2.5, 3 years apart. And so whatever we did together. So when we were in North Carolina, we were into exploring the mountains. We were into breakdancing together,
Okay, Tommy Tant was the B-boy?
Oh, yeah. Totally. We used to battle
That's
people.
awesome.
We used to walk. Like, we would go, we visited D.C. one time, and we would wear our outfits. We would dress like Michael Jackson.
Yes.
I had the glove. I had the jacket. And I would walk down the street, and then someone would battle you, and we would battle back.
That's awesome.
And so we did that
Do you
together.
still feel that?
Oh, yeah. I do. I mean, how can you not? I put on a Michael Jackson song the other night.
Yeah.
It's like, but we also, we got into breakdancing, we got into karate together. We were really into martial arts growing up. And so that means we just sparred each other all the time. And then when we moved to the beach, it was like you were saying, when you go to the beach, it's so impressive.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what is this? And
It's kind of like exploring and karate put together. Surfing is.
Yeah. And so
Surfing is a lot of that put together.
It was natural. And so my dad, he had surfed in college for a few years. And like in North Carolina, we always had this surfboard in the garage, and it was dusty. And we're like, what is this for, Dad? And he's like, it's not a sled. You can't ride it on the snow. I'm like, okay, but we don't know what it's for. And so when we moved to the beach, he was like, this is what it's for.
That's dope.
And so then we were like, okay, how do we learn to do this? And so we started off, and eventually my parents bought us surfboards, and we taught ourselves.
Just going out there.
Going out there, trial and error.
That's funny. Like you just see some like thing, and then all of a sudden, like now you like run.
Yeah.
Surf kind of like how you never know what to expect in life from what you see at any time.
It's true. It's like there's this line that this Greek historian wrote. It says, "You never know the end from the beginning."
That's deep.
You never know the end from the beginning. Like, so for example, when a fashion marketing group at a school starts a surf contest. And from the beginning, they could not have imagined that 22 years later, we'd be sitting here talking about this event. It would have the impact that it's had. And so you don't know the end from the beginning in whatever you're starting.
Wow, that's crazy. It's almost like we started this
Yeah.
year, you know what I mean? We don't know the end from the beginning. So going through this event, you know, is there any particular years that might stick out to you or anything like that, or particular things that might have happened?
So many over 20 years. I think as far as like if there were sort of milestones in the event, I think there was, you know, it was a slow sort of build. So when we started this event, it was like 2 10 by 10 pop-up tents at A1A.
Wow.
And that was it. And like 30 of us, Frida was there, and we were just scoring each other on clipboards and
Wow,
and
Frida
then
was there.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so it's you know, I think that was a milestone in itself because you had this sense of like it was just as friends and just the community and moms and dads who also had, you know, their sons and daughters in the community. And so I think that was a milestone in where it started. And then there's, you know, and then it grew and we brought in really, you know, really national level sponsors. So we had Nautica clothing that was a presenting sponsor for many years. We had Red Bull. We put on a night event here. We're the first event, I think, in North America to put on a night event.
Wow.
And so that was a milestone and really fun. And then today it's like, you know, these sort of milestone moments are, you know, just the ability to organize an event of this scale,
Yeah,
and have a basis and volunteers and the community support and all of that. I consider each year a milestone in itself.
You know, it's funny. I used to have a drone company before the pandemic, and then it kind of, you know, but I, one year I was like, the Tommy Tant competition is going on, and I brought my drone out.
Yeah.
And I have some drone footage from,
Yeah.
it might be like the 17th or 16th
Really?
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Afterwards, I might show you guys, but I know you're busy. So there's this quote that you had on the website that really touched me because my brother passed away as well. So I kind of wanted to, you know, ask this before we got out, but you said the Tommy has gone from being something I attended with reluctance to being one of my favorite weekends of the year. As a memorial, it creates an atmosphere to appreciate those we love while doing what we love. So like my brother, he died in a car accident in Orlando. And for the longest, I couldn't go to Orlando.
Yeah.
I even moved to South Florida because I wanted to move.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I was like, and everybody was like, "Oh, Orlando, you can come here." I was like, "I can't. I just can't." You know. So like, if you could kind of speak to what that quote means to you, or, you know what I mean? Like, is that how you were feeling? Like, you just it brought back a lot of memories and stuff.
It did. It did. I mean, it's, you know, I think for me, when I remember the early years, you know, I imagine you didn't get to say goodbye to your brother.
Right. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to say goodbye to Tommy either, you know? And so there's this sense of like, I didn't know it was coming.
Right.
You know, he died in his sleep and we didn't know he had the heart condition. None of us knew.
That's crazy.
We were hanging out with him. Like I was actually away in Hawaii when it happened. But my friends here, they were hanging out with him like this, like the day before. And so we didn't know. And so I think that the reason why it was so hard for me to attend the event is because I didn't want it to be true.
I can see where you come from.
You know,
there's like almost like something where you're like, is this really like it's hard.
Was it your older brother or younger brother?
It was my older brother. He was like 4.5, 5 years older than me.
And so it's like I didn't know the world without my brother in it.
I agree.
I didn't know day-to-day life without my brother in it. And so it's like this, it's the world becomes foreign in a way because, you know, I often put it this way. It's like the peace that I had came when I closed my eyes every single night and I would fall asleep. And in those sort of dream states when I was sleeping, it had the potential not to be true. But the moment that I woke up, it was like I was living in the nightmare, that this was reality. And I was grappling with that in a way, and I was trying to mourn, the life of my brother and the life of a brother, life of a family member, life of a friend. And I think what it was this, is that there's this idea that we all believe in, that every single human has value, right? That all of us there's a value in us. And it's the basis of what we put human rights, equality, dignity, all of that. And so when we lose something of that much value in our lives, it's a loss in a way that's different than if I lost my iPhone or if I lost my car or lost any material thing. And so, and then that was the first time I really felt that in my life, where it's something that I can't replace my brother. I can't replace that relationship, that sense of like, when he was next to me, I felt at peace.
I agree with you.
You know?
I definitely agree.
And so I was mourning that. And at the time, you know, for me at the time, as I was mourning this, I was trying to make sense of it, because for me, like, the worldview that I kind of believed at the time is I didn't, you know, I wasn't necessarily religious, and I didn't believe there wasn't a God, but I was somewhere in the middle. And what happened is that all of a sudden I was like, man, like, I was asking questions in a way I wasn't asking questions before. You know,
I definitely understand. Do you think you nurture relationships more now at this point? Because for me, at least, it's like some people will be like, oh, just, you know, F and be like, man, it's just like, you know, I'll just tell her, I'll be like, hey, I love you, bro. You know what I mean? People like, I'm like, hey, man. You know what I mean? It's just like, I just want to let you know while I can. And, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's that. And I think for me, that's what's at the core of the Tommy Tant.
I agree with that.
It's that.
It's
stopping and saying, bro, the fact that you're in my life and that we have a friendship, I am so grateful for that. And I want you to know that you impact my life in a way that my life would be dramatically different if you weren't in it. And that is at the core of the Tommy Tant. And it's getting people to realize that the most valuable thing around us is each other.
That's awesome.
It's not the house we live in, the car we drive. It's not that. It's each other. And so it's just reminding people. And the thing is, you know, we often forget that. I often forget that. I can get my values off my own life. And so, you know, the healing that's transpired in 20 years, going from, I don't want to attend this event because it's too hard, because I feel this loss in a way that I've never felt lost before, to, man, like, the most valuable thing around me is my friends and family, and this community is a stark difference. You know, it is my favorite time of the year because it's like, man, I'm surrounded by the most important things in my life. This weekend really represents that.
It does. I can see that. It does. And that just adds like a whole nother layer to the Tommy Tant for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And so I'll intentionally, like, I'll be, you know, in the weekend, I will try to stop people, like at the awards ceremony. I'll be like, I've done this before. I'm like, let's just stop for a moment, turn the person next to you and tell them how much they mean to you. Do it. Because we don't do it.
Yeah.
And we don't take the time to do it. And yet, like, you and I know, or if you've lost someone, you know, it's like, wait a second here. Like, you know, life is fragile.
Yeah.
It is fragile. It can be taken away. And it's a gift, no matter what you believe. If you don't believe there is a God, if you look at the numbers, it's a gift, the fact that we're in creation. And if you do, like me, like I do, and so I see everything as a gift.
Yeah.
I see that there is this sense of where I flourish when I'm near my friends and I'm in community in a way that I don't when I'm by myself.
Yeah. I definitely I value and I kind of hold on to relationships where it's like, you know, if this person was to go, would I, like, okay, say they did something wrong. Yeah. It's like, I forgive you, you know, because I love you. I know I really love you because like, if something was happening to you, I would be really sad. You know what I mean? It's like, some people are like, oh, whatever. It's like, but this is so small.
Yeah.
Go talk to them.
Yeah.
Go talk to your parents. Go talk to your brother.
Yeah.
Go talk to, if you get in the fight with your husband, wife, you know, it's small. Yeah. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff is really small. Like you said, family is the most important. Community is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
It is. And that's kind of the core of the contest. And that's just my perspective. And I think that other people have different perspectives on the event. But as you know, as it's in my brother's memory, And, my parents and I, my wife and the volunteers, they invest so much time into it. But it does mean different things to different people. People have their own interpretation of an event. And that's just necessarily true of everything around us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'll talk to people, and sometimes they have a hard time putting it to words, which I often do on certain things. But sometimes it's really interesting to ask people, hey, what does this event mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
And what they come up with, I'm like, wow, like that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Before we get out of here, we really appreciate you coming and taking your time. Do you want to talk about maybe the events, or is there anything about, you might want to shout out, or, before we get out of here?
Yeah. I mean, I think this year we have, you mentioned the category that we've added in the Tommy division.
Yep.
And so that's unique this year. We've never done that before. And that's going to take place on Sunday. And that'll be, so every year we also have a paddle out.
Okay.
And so we paddle out, and we all join hands. And so there's images of, it forms a circle of surfers in the ocean, and it's so powerful.
That's awesome.
It's really, it's powerful to be in. It's powerful to observe, and so that's on Sunday.
And then tonight is
tonight's the kickoff event at Tortugas, and the lineup of gifts that we have everything from an electric bike, which is black on black, super dope bike. I mean, really, really cool electric bike, to a couple trips to Nicaragua. Wow. We have a golf getaway package to the Hammock Dunes. We have two of our local chefs that put together. They'll basically come to your house and cook dinner for 10 of your friends. I mean, it runs the gamut as far as the live auction. Awesome. And then the silent auction is full of items from local businesses that they've all donated. And so what does all the money go towards? It's all of the money that we raise. It basically helps us put on the event, and then we give away scholarships.
Awesome.
And then we make a donation to the local food bank. So families that don't have enough funds to be able to provide food during the holidays, they can. And then we make a donation to the research that we do to raise awareness for the disease that took my brother's life and also runs in my
That's
family.
the Marfan Foundation?
Yeah, Marfan's Foundation. And so the money that we raise, that's what it all goes towards. That's what all goes. And the amount of Flagler County students who have received scholarships is off the charts.
Yeah,
it's really cool to see. And so it's like, my mom was a high school teacher. My dad was the chief financial officer for the school district here. And so education is a value that we hold as a family. So
that's awesome.
Okay.
Well, everybody, please make it out to the competition. It's going to be packed on the beach. Get there early. We really appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much for coming. Okay. And everybody, please, I feel like everybody already follows Tommy Tant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But follow them, subscribe, everything that they got going on. Thank you. Quick question.
Yeah.
Other than this, what do you do? Other than this or anything?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so a lot of my background, I've spent probably about, I think it's probably 8 years now. So after I retired from surfing, I was diagnosed with the same heart condition my brother had.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind.
10 years apart.
Is that scary for you? I'm sorry. I was like, that was.
Yeah. So it's so I was diagnosed with the same heart condition my brother had, and then my mom, because I was diagnosed, then my mom was diagnosed.
Whoa.
And then she was actually weeks away from dying. So it literally saved her life just in time. She would have died. And then I had to, but she had life-saving surgery to save her life. And the surgery they do is, it's the second most invasive heart surgery they do. They stop your heart for an hour and a half. They freeze your body to a state of hypothermia, and they replace the aorta, part of the aorta where there's aneurysms forming. So
yeah, I went to nursing school. Had a nursing degree. So yeah, I know about that, aortic aneurysm.
Yeah.
That's the size of a water hose or so, and that's if that bursts through, that's pretty much instant gone.
Yeah.
But that's also for aneurysms in your head and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you said a heart condition with him, but it's that's not a heart attack or a dysrhythmia or a buildup of chest pain.
Yeah.
It's that's just
Oh yeah.
happens, because it's not. I mean, it's the heart, but it's more the veins
Yep.
than the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So that's scary.
It is, and
I remember when I first heard that, nurses was like, "Damn, like if that happens, you just
it's an ascending
Yeah.
aortic aneurysm.
Yep.
AAA.
AAA, yep.
That's what they call it.
Yep.
You know, and you were literally dead in seconds.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to my brother. He was asleep and he died. He went to the doctor the day before. He had chest pains, and they diagnosed him with the flu. They sent him home.
the flu.
And so what we do, we see it's really important for us to raise awareness.
Fair.
Because it was a misdiagnosis, and so a big thing what we do is raise awareness for the event, and just getting back to my family story, it's like my mom had it, and so she had surgery, and then I had it, and then I had surgery as well, and so that was that was ushered in my retirement as a professional athlete.
Wow.
Which is a whole different topic about how do you walk away from something like that, but yeah, so now what I do is I do a lot of speaking, public speaking, and I talk about big questions of life, meaning morality, justice, why are we here, purpose, all of that stuff, because those are the questions that I started asking when I was 22 years old and my brother died.
I definitely am asking those questions.
And you start asking those because suffering puts pressure on your worldview, no matter what worldview you hold.
Yeah. My brother, he worked multiple jobs, and he graduated his architecture degree.
Yeah.
But then he still worked his other job just to support, and he really liked hustling and stuff.
Yeah.
But now I question, is it worth it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
What is success?
Yeah.
And it really just, that's like you said, is the whole thing.
It is. But there's such important questions because, I think that if you care about a community, if you care about Flagler Beach, if you care about this community, if you care about the surf community, you're always going to have this sense of okay, what values do we hold that are really important, and what is it about our culture that there are values that we need to talk about that no one wants to talk about, and I think when it comes to anywhere in America. Especially the last few years, but ongoing, there's this sense of, man, what does it look like to be successful? What are we working for? And all of that. And
I
in a
definitely
sense,
feel that.
it's like,
Yeah.
what's the point? And if we don't have a good answer for that, then we begin to become disillusioned with the process and all of that. And you see, gosh, one of the biggest causes of death for men my age and men around our age. Suicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as much as the Tommy Tant is about valuing each other and saying, man, I love you, you tremendous impact on my life, this, it's also man, we got to have honest conversations too. We got to talk about these things, because if my brother was here and he came across this event and we weren't loving each other in this way too, we were just kind of accepting each other, but we weren't actually having difficult conversations, because that's honest love. That's real love. If we weren't having those and checking in on each other, then he'd be bummed.
Yeah.
And because that speaks to the true sense of friendship. It's like a real friend is going to be, you're making an impact, and man, you're making some bad decisions.
Yeah, a real friend tells you what you don't want to hear too, for sure.
Yeah. James Baldwin, right? Love shows you the things you don't want to see. It shows you the things you don't want to see. That's true love. And that understanding of love is something that I believe in, particularly in my understanding of God and the God that I believe in, but it transcends that to my friendships too. It runs all the way through. It's like how I interact with my friends is to love them genuinely. And to love them in that understanding of love, the kind of love that you just talked about and James Baldwin talked about. It's it's this love that isn't, it isn't free of the aspect of judgment. It actually has that in it, and that's true love. It exists in the presence of judgment, not in the absence of judgment. So it's and I know that's kind of a big thought for a bit, but
that's something great to leave the people with.
It's true, and and I'm sure you feel that with the loss of your brother and the way that your brother and you interacted, and it's something that we have to have space to celebrate the good and also talk about the hard times too. Because to be honest, man, this was the hardest thing I ever faced in my life.
Yeah, it's really showing you to live for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because I spent a lot of time sulking. Like you said, I was kind of lost. When you said that, I was like, I was lost. And that made sense, because he even though I looked to him my whole life.
Yeah.
He was my guiding light. And then I was just like, my light just turned off.
Yeah.
And it went downhill a little bit.
It went downhill in my life too. That's why I was so reluctant to attend the event. It was like, man, I'm mourning my brother 365 days a year. And I feel like, you know, in my sort of anger and bitterness that was building up my own heart, I was feeling like people were just mourning him one day.
Like celebrating him and stuff like that.
And I was like, man, like, you guys go back to your homes.
You don't deserve this.
Well, maybe they don't deserve, but like they go back to their homes.
Oh,
and
I feel you.
After it's done, and I'm going back to mine.
Yeah.
And now, if I was near my parents, there are 3 of us around the dinner table instead of 4.
Got you. I hear you on that.
But what I didn't realize this part, and this is the beauty of having a memorial event, and I encourage people to start these kind of events because what it does is it opens your eyes to the fact that other people are mourning too.
Yeah,
and friends,
how much he touched other people's lives and stuff, and they're like, no, they do deserve to be here. Everybody does.
Everyone does, and you're missing him in a way that in a similar way that I'm missing him too, and maybe mine's a little bit different because I knew him as a brother, but you knew him as a really close friend.
Yeah,
and it opened up to my eyes that you know what, I'm not the only one who's mourning my brother's loss.
I could speak to Chenzo, who's in Flagler County. He was my brother's best friend, and there was a point where I was like, he actually knows my brother better than I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they talk all day.
Right?
Yeah. Like they did things that I didn't do with them and stuff. They crossed bridges and stuff. You know what I mean? So It's like, who am I to tell him? You know what I mean? I was young. We went to different schools. They went to school together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They spent like hours and hours together daily. So, you know,
it really does. It speaks to like this, and that goes back to the community aspect. Is like when they started this event because they realized that, man, like, okay, we've experienced a loss in our community. You know, how we celebrate and how we memorialize someone doesn't just say about their life and how we sort of think of death. It spreads into how we think about life itself. They cross each other, you know? And so what it's saying is that, listen, if anyone passes away in this community, we're gonna remember them. We're gonna do a paddle out, and we're gonna keep talking about them and keep their spirit alive in our friendships in a way, because that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years or so through my brother's event, but also other events as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Will, we really appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is a great interview, and you know, like we said, conversation just all the way around. But everybody, please go out to the event. And we're going to see you out there. We're going to be out there talking to some different people and stuff. Flagler Weekly. Have a great day.
See you guys later.
Yep.